Hello, friends. How's everybody doing this Monday? Yeah, it's Monday. Has to be Monday, that's why I'm streaming. How is everybody? I'm tired. I just started a new project at work, which means actually I have to do work now. That horrible. But hopefully everybody else out there is having a good Monday. We are working on this baby blanket, which I'm almost done with. Got a little bit more to go. Need to finish this stripe and then the next one, and then I can give it the trim, which is going to be a fourth color of pink, more like a, I don't know, like a maroon, I think. And it's going to have a nice scalloped edge. That'll be cool. Can get it shipped off to the mother, the little baby, after a quick wash. I doubt they want it to come smelling like dog and resin printer. Never know. Today's music is K-pop because I needed a pick-me-up. Because, as I mentioned, it's Monday. "50% of crochet is trying to remember where you're at because you got slightly distracted by something. Maybe that's just 100% of being ADHD. Can say. Altered settings in OBS right before the stream. Changing around some things in the bitrate settings. Boosted it all by about 20%. Wondering how that's affecting the stream quality, whether or not y'all can notice a difference. Suppose better if I were in shot, wouldn't it be? Is that better? Hopefully. Trying to balance good viewing angle with it's comfortable for my arms since we're going to be here for a bit. Same basic pattern as before. Spots of 2 decreases followed by 4 regular double crochets, then 2 increases, and wherever it decreases, like we're doing right now, get the pattern curving downwards. Wherever it increases, it opens back up, and you get a nice little wavy arrow effect. And of course, I'll be posting photos of the complete project to my Instagram when I'm done. Do in the modern era. You can expect painting streams to be going a lot longer going forward though, because of my acquisition of, or not acquisition, repair of my resin printer, and actually the acquisition of a second one. I have a ton of D&D models and Warhammer proxies that are being pumped out even as we speak. Gonna need painting. I should solicit suggestions for what to do next. Printers. I already know that they're gonna probably get taken up a fair bit for the Desert Bus Craft along once that drops. I think I might even get started now working on that. I've mentioned it in a number of different places, but the plan is to run it by Erica first, but a full-scale replica of Sleeper Simulant from Destiny 2 rendered in resin and then painted by hand to be accurate. Because of course I've got all of the different artist paints and everything, so I can do up the metallics and the gloss blacks and stuff like that. I think that'd be a pretty big project and hopefully pretty notable piece. See how that goes. Paying attention. It's supposed to start at a decrease there. Is my headset working? It is. Quiet night. Working late already, Merlin? So awful. Also, no chatting while driving, jeez. Absolutely nothing I could say that is worth being distracted over while you're behind the wheel of a car. Well, if you're not driving yet, that's fine. How was work, Merlin? Frustrating as always? Ah, there's nothing good on the radio anyways. That's good. All of our Mondays could be like that. Ugh. So, it's my bane. I nearly failed out of college because, well, I stopped taking my ADHD meds, and I wasn't liking what I was doing, and the depression and anxiety started getting really bad. So it was just a big old combination, the worst possible things that could have happened for me, and I was just so burnt out. Didn't want to do my homework, barely made it to class every single week. But hey, Everything is so much better now. Turns out your success at college doesn't determine your success outside of college. Considering we're on row 4 of the second to last stripe, I might actually be able to get done with all of the stripes tonight. At least on stream, and then I can start working on the trim while watching a movie with Miller Butt. Put on Howl's Moving Castle tonight. Just watched Princess Mononoke the other night and it's got me feeling super nostalgic for Ghibli. It was Mononoke, Howl's Moving Castle, and Spirited Away. Those were definitive aspects of my childhood. Followed closely by My Neighbor Totoro. And the Scooby-Doo movies with the Hex Girls. Those were also very important. What other crafts I should do on stream? Because obviously I do a lot of painting already. Crochet from time to time. Wondering what other crafts would translate well to stream. Airbrushing probably too bad. I just have to get a streaming setup downstairs by my airbrush. I don't know if the laser cutting CNC would do well because that'd be out in my garage and I do not have a good internet connection out there, and most of it would just be watching my CNC machines shoot lasers and grind the mills into the wood. That'd be more like YouTube content, I think. So many other things I do. A lot of it's... guess I could do some like digital art on stream. Or like 3D modeling I do for preparing CAD files. That'd be interesting to somebody. Install softwares I have. Drop a fat beat on stream. So that's why you're going back, right? Yeah, you really should do a 3D modeling stream. Because, like, I have the software and ability to do it. I know all the concepts. Just main issue I always have, like doing organic design, like 3D printing, is it takes a lot of persistence and I'm trying to say here. Like obviously the dopamine doesn't get flowing right away because it's one of those things that you only start to really see it come together towards the end. So it's hard to stick with it in the beginning processes when it looks like awful. But if I do it on stream, not like I can be like 30 minutes in, wow, this sucks, I'm done for the night. Just drop it because, well, I have to keep streaming. Marilyn, what did I say about chatting and driving? Get your butt home first. Be care about your safety. But yeah, the ugly stage of art is always the hardest part to get through. I think it's one of the reasons I like crochet so much because it's very, like the ugly stage of crochet is the first row, and that's it for most projects. Because after the first row, that's when everything starts to take shape. You know, the curves that you're putting down look good, and then you're off to the races. Compare that to doing line art into illustration, into shading, or having to put down a base coat 3 times on a model. There are other, much longer ugly stages. Again, continue disappointed I never got around to seeing these girls in concert. I really should have. Remember, everyone, you regret the things you didn't do much more than the things you did do. Unless you did something really stupid. But going out and having fun at a concert is really an idea you're going to regret. I do there? We're just about done. Go into the turn. Up 3. Work into the same. It counts as an increase. Because we are counting our turning chain as a stitch. Bad parts of having my phone in front of me to watch chat is that I can also see the count number. Sometimes you just get these confusing sections of time where the number keeps bouncing up and down between two numbers. It's like, is that the same person coming in and out of the stream? Or is it a bunch of people coming in, being like, nah, and leaving? Who knows? Who knows? Again, I also don't fully trust Twitch's viewer count system because I've seen the back end a lot of these systems, and the way they detect how people are interacting with the web page is suspect at best sometimes. I mean, suspect at best describes a lot of our IT infrastructure in general. And the deeper you get into the IT field, the more scared you are for society at large, because you see that so many aspects of our life are held together with chewing gum, duct tape, and matchsticks. You know that you could take down the entire internet, at least for a period, just by making or incapacitating, say, 7 people? True. They're called the primary DNS key holders. And if they can no longer authenticate new DNS records to the core schema, then you can't change what an address in our current DNS system points to. That's something up here. I did. Yep, I'm gonna have to unravel this. Just realized that I did, in fact, miss a double. Luckily, it's only 15 minutes of work. I've had to unravel so much more before. I've had to unravel an entire hour of work before. Yep, there we go. Please double check your stitches before you move on. What was I saying before? Oh, yeah, the DNS records. If you can't make alterations to the DNS record because the primary key holders are all out of commission, I mean, you can't add new websites basically to the system. Google.com is a placeholder for a IP address on the internet. If you were to, say, have to change the location for that, say Google's at 8.8.8.8, which is actually, yes, one of their IP addresses. It's their DNS resolver cache. You had to change that to 9.9.9.9. Well, if you can't authenticate that to the primary DNS holders, you can't change that. So Google would have to be at 8.8.8.8 forever. Otherwise, it would break if you can't change that record. Yeah, no, you can't. You can't algorithmically do this because this is something that has to be verified and confirmed, and these are manually held keys, basically. It's like having the master key to a vault. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, imagine if only 7 people in the world knew how to make a toaster, and you couldn't reverse engineer it, and those 7 people were gone. You would no longer be able to ever create toasters again unless you reinvented toasters. That's the sort of problem that a lot of our tech industry has, is there are a lot of aspects to it that are entirely tribal knowledge or held by individuals in such a way that once they're gone, if they don't properly pass that information or those tools on to the next generation, their successors, they just disappear. We're seeing that a lot in the EHR and banking systems that are still relying on AS400s and COBOL mainframes and databases that are just, laughably out of date. I'm glad you made it home safe there, Merlin. Go find yourself a Theo to cuddle. He wants your chicken. Of course, there's always a relevant XKCD. I'm going to assume that's the one with modern infrastructure being held up by one program. selflessly maintained by a single person in Nebraska. Oh, you got a raise? Nice. Yeah, that XKCD is depressingly accurate. There are a lot of times in InfoSec, IPsec that we go looking through repository and dependency lists and the recursive lists thereof of applications that people are developing, and we find out that like 10, you say that your program is dependent on 5 programs from GitHub, 5 libraries from GitHub, and then you find out that between those 5 they're actually dependent on 50, and then even those are dependent on a total of 75 programs and libraries and stuff like that. And then you find out that of those 75 chained uh, dependencies, 10 of them haven't been updated in, like 10 years. A few of them have known security flaws, stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, your program itself doesn't have a security flaw, except for all of the things it depends on. Main reasons that even though I have to use it, I dislike Windows because they've just been building on the same core infrastructure for the operating system for 30 years now. Patching the bugs as they go along when they realize that they've left in a security flaw, and the patching becomes more and more intensive over time because they're just constantly trying to keep up with tech debt that has been stored for 3 decades. It's There's a reason why Windows 10 has to update every other day seemingly, and it's not a good one. So Merlin, with that big old raise you got, you're gonna treat us all to ice cream, right? I'll take mine with chopped peanuts and caramel sauce. Ooh, and crushed up pretzels. Cool, let me just fly you up to Detroit. Got the best frozen custard here. Paid once a month? That's insane. I bet. Jesus. Of course, I'm sure most companies would just love to be able to only pay their employees quarterly. But you work for a school system. Christ. Like, have their, they should have their stuff together a lot better than a private business. Oh, that reminds me, I need to submit my timesheets this week. I want to get another late one. Hey, Randus. Long time no see. Yep. So many thread manipulations. The things I do for the kids. What were we on again? 5. I've been doing my row correctly. Good question to ask before I go any further, so that I don't have to unravel too far if I did make a mistake. Okay, looks good. Yeah, Randus. Merlin's gonna treat us all to ice cream now, because she is rich. Obviously. Peanut butter parfaits for everyone. That's a pretty big ice cream run there, Merlin. Do you know how many dilly bars we could get with that? Extra dollar an hour is not much to, nothing to scoff at. Well, it definitely didn't come out of the deans or the board members' salaries. Yeah, they need every ounce of that. How are they going to afford their 50 golf outings a year on that? That's an evergreen statement there, Marlon. Top will always be disgusting. Personally, I was looking at did you know that if you have about 40,000 US dollars to invest, you can get permanent residence in Japan? Well, that's been tempting. Hey, Merlin, we value you. You're a very valuable member of our community. I don't know. All those meetings definitely toll on you over time. Project I was on, I had to be in meetings like 6 hours of the day on Mondays. It was absolute hell. Like, honestly, I would not go back to work at that client ever again after what I had to deal with on the first project. Meetings suck, and 90% of them could be emails. last stitches of row 5. So the next row will be our last row for this. Double checking that I did my increases and decreases properly, because all it takes is one slip up to get paranoid. Alright, I think we're good. Actually, I think now that we're an hour into the stream, we'll take our first break of the night. So everybody get up, stretch your fluids, change your legs, take your meds, all that good stuff, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes. See you then. Alright, and we're back. Bentley, Marlin is shaking her booty to dulcet tones of K-pop stars, as you should. Hope everyone had a good break. Rehydrate yourselves. Honestly, if you can shake your butt without shaking your hips, that's impressive. That would take a lot of muscle control.